Good morning everybody and welcome to Derwent Water, High Brandle How to be precise. And I'm here this morning to spend a little bit of time exploring a part of the shoreline here at Derwent Water that I've never ever visited before. And in this video what I hope to do is to share with you my approach for scouting out a brand new location. High Brandle How is on the western edge of Derwent Water, and it represents the most southerly point that I've ever been to on this shoreline. There's now a stretch that runs from here down through the other side of Manistee Park where I have never explored. And so in this video I want to spend a bit of time exploring this shoreline, trying to find different compositions. And I want to share the process that I go through whenever I visit a location for the first time. Now usually with my videos I have some idea of what I'm going to talk about and some points that I want to make. But when I sat down to think about this, I actually wasn't 100% sure of the process that I go through when I come somewhere new. And so this is going to be a bit of an education process for me. Now I love a jetty shot as much as the next man, and so my plan had been this morning to start with a shot of the jetty here at High Brandle How, just to get my eye in. But unfortunately, as you can see, it's actually out of action at the moment. And so probably the best thing for me to do now is to grab my bag, head off, and see if I can't find something else. So just because I've never been here before doesn't mean I don't have a plan. I've plotted out a route of about a mile long that takes me past Myrtle Bay and up towards Great Bay. Another thing is I've just remembered that I said I haven't been here before, but I have actually been to this bit before. Back last year I came here with a mate of mine called Steve, but in my defence it was absolutely throwing it down, and we didn't really stop to take any shots. Do you remember that day, Steve? I think my socks have only just dried out. Whenever I film at Derwent Water, I always find myself trying to compete with the geese. They are so noisy. Anyway, this is the first area that I found that has some potential. This is Abbott's Bay, and it has a little island called Otter Island. And I think there's a shot here of the island looking up to the mountains in the distance, which is Skiddaw and Blencathra. So I'm going to take a quick shot, a record shot, something to remember this by, and I'm going to try and not have too much foreground goose. While we're waiting for these geese to clear off out the road, let me explain what first drew my eye to this scene. It's got three things that I like to include in most of my shots. The first thing is there's a subject that will act as a focal point, and that's the island itself. The second thing is there is potential here for a little bit of interest. So when we get nice still conditions, we should get lovely reflections of the island. And the third thing is a good background. So the mountains here of Blencathra and Skiddaw provide a brilliant backdrop for the island itself. And so the composition simply puts the island off to one side, which allows the eye to lead off into the distance. It doesn't look like these geese are going anywhere. Come on, you lot, bugger off. I'm now at the next bay along from where I was shooting a moment ago, Abbott's Bay, which I shall now call Goose Bay. This is Myrtle Bay, and again we have a very similar composition. Instead of the island though, we've got this headland that's sticking out into the lake, and that's got some trees on it, and that's our primary subject, our primary focal point. Again, there's the opportunity here for reflections when conditions are still, and we're looking off into the distance. We've got Blencathra now. Skiddaw is now obscured behind these trees. And in addition to this composition though, on the right hand side we've got Waller Crags, which kind of points into the frame and should draw the eye off to Blencathra in the distance. The wind has actually dropped now, and we've got quite nice reflections. Now, even though this is just a record shot, a shot for me to remember this scene by so that I can make the decision at a later date whether I want to come back and shoot this for real, I do still want to do as good a job as I possibly can. Now, we've got a very bright sky, and the trees on the left-hand side are quite dark, so I'm going to bracket my exposures. I'm overexposing by 1 stop, and then I'm bracketing 1 stop either side. And then when I get home, I'll blend those together in Lightroom. But I might not actually have to. In order to get the kind of shot that I want, I might just have to take the dark exposure and lift the shadows to reveal the detail in the trees. Now, although I'm just out exploring a new location, trying to find some new compositions, I have waited until the conditions were right. It is very, very overcast today, and the light is very flat. Now, normally I would moan an awful lot about the light, but you won't hear me moaning today because this is exactly what I want. And the reason for that is that it allows me to explore all sorts of different compositions, shooting in all sorts of different directions, and I don't have to worry about the strong light. So I don't have to worry about shooting into strong light, which is something that I don't like to do. With this sort of light I can shoot in all sorts of different directions, and it will still reveal different details and different textures. And so this is absolutely perfect conditions for coming out to explore a new location. The surface of the lake is just starting to break up now as that wind just picks up a little bit. So it's time for me to pack up my gear, head on and see what else I can find. Now, I purposefully haven't done any research on this area. I haven't been and looked at it on Flickr or Instagram or Google Images or anything like that that you might expect me to do. I wanted to come here today with fresh eyes so that I could judge the scene for myself and make my own mind up about potential compositions. So I wasn't expecting this view towards the Jaws of Borrowdale, which sounds a bit ridiculous because I know the Jaws of Borrowdale are over there. But we've got this boardwalk, this sort of walkway here, and that acts as a fantastic leading line to draw your eye up to the hills in the distance and the Jaws of Borrowdale. So I'm going to grab this shot really quickly. But for me, this could be shot of the day. This is Great Bay, and it represents the end of my little walk. And I know this location quite well. You get really good views of Skiddaw and of Waller Crags from here. And now what I'm going to do is the most important thing whenever I come out and check out a location for the first time. I'm going to turn around, I'm going to retrace my steps and see if there's anything that I've missed along the way. Now, I was going to end the video there with a shot of me walking off into the distance, and to be honest with you, I was going to go and do something else. You'd have never have known that I wasn't retracing my steps. But, and this is the Scout's honest truth, as I was walking back, I spotted a composition here that I hadn't seen when I was going in the other direction. We've got this little island here, these beautiful grasses that are sort of part submerged on the edge of the lake. And this is making a lovely shot, so I'm going to grab this before I head back. And this time, I promise, I am absolutely going to retrace my steps. Right, I'm doing it for real this time, okay?